Welcome to DearEX, a new podcast series from the creators of the Mohua Show. In this podcast, we will speak to individuals who've had the courage to call it quits in their relationships and marriages when it wasn't working any longer. We will discuss the dreaded D word of divorce, which most of us shy away from. DearEX will speak to once married, now single folks, people going through heartbreak, counselors, and lawyers to bring you honest, trippy truths of what it took to say no more. So, hi, in today's episode, we have with us Ruchita Khurana. Ruchita, who has been a homemaker for many, many years, and then she went on to become a teacher. And that interim journey in between is what Ruchita is going to talk to us in this episode in DearEX. So, Ruchita, you know that this podcast is about women who've been able to navigate, women and men who've been able to navigate separations, heartbreak, grief, and a divorce, which, like I always say in all my podcasts, is that ultimate D word that most people don't ever imagine when they start the equation with someone. That happily ever after may not exist, So let's just go back into the old Ruchita, and especially for so many of my listeners who may be wanting to navigate coming out and being a homemaker isn't easy at all. So tell us a little bit about the journey. When did you come into that decision? What did it take for you to take up, the job of a teacher, and all the lessons you learned in between?
First, let me say hi, Mohua. Thank you so much for inviting me. I've heard a lot about you from my sister. She's the one who's kind of pushed me into this. I had no idea what it was all about earlier till I got to know. I think it's a wonderful platform to reach out to women who probably are, at times seeking the same, I wouldn't say answers, but looking for familiarity with the same experiences and learning from each other's experiences. So, uh, yes, it's been a long journey. I have been married, now it's 25, but yeah, technically 23 because I've been separated for good 2 years now. Um, I've basically been a homemaker for well, most of my prime time of the 18 years that I've spent. I have two kids. My eldest is 22, my younger one is 11. And the profession and being an educator was something that I just chanced upon. I I think my son was a little grown up and he kind of pushed me, cajoled me that you're home, why don't you try something, do some volunteer work. I did uh, enroll myself in Times of India for English speaking course and teaching underprivileged youth at that time. I think it was very fulfilling experience for me to understand that yes, I am something beyond just a homemaker. You're so tied up in your own mundane routine, taking care of the family, being raising your kids that you completely forget who you are. So that A was a beautiful experience that I had, kind of made me uh, I wouldn't say reminisce, but think about if there could be a possibility in it. And that's where my husband actually pushed me into doing a course. And it was a good extensive 1 year course that I did. And from there on, then yes, I was enrolled and I was recruited as a teacher at Heritage Experiential School, and here I am. That's been my journey from being a homemaker to a educator.
So you just now said that your husband pushed you to do it. I mean, why is it this, that? And I echo this with you because in so many of the interviews and also for myself, we always need this push from a man invariably in our lives, right? And it's sometimes our son. Of course, in many cases there are daughters also. In many cases there are mothers also. But in majority of the conversations that I have had till now, most people. Do you agree that we tend to find validation through a male figure in our lives, and that goes back?
100%. Ah, gosh, you've just taken the underlying thought here. In fact, in my staff room, we were exactly having the same conversation about how at times women do look for validation, right? Before you're married, it would be from your parents. When you're married, it would be from your husband. After you've had kids, it would be probably from your son. And this need, I don't know where this comes from, But yes, I do feel that it definitely has something to do with childhood. It definitely has the conditioning, as an Indian woman, that we are born and brought up, and the way we are raised, that validation that feeling of seeking validation is definitely there. And for me, it was definitely much more stronger.
सो ये एक्चुअली इंडियन सिर्फ नहीं है, वर्ल्ड वाइड फिनोमिना है, वो वैलिडेशन सीख करने की जो एक बचपन से आदत होती है. एंड जस्ट लाइक यू, व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड राइटिंग आई रोट अ लॉट अबाउट सेक्सुअल फ्रीडम. आई इनफैक्ट व्हेन आई रोट माय बुक, I also wrote about desire, in women. And I remember this conversation with somebody when they read that book. They said, "Oh, how did your son react to it?" And for 2 minutes, I got defensive, Ruchita, because I had to explain to them. And then after a point, when I came back, I did not feel nice about it, because here I was, I've written a book and the book has been awarded, the book has been recognized, the book has been bought by people, but still I sat myself answering somebody as to if my son was okay with that one story in that book, right? And
I
yeah,
understand that,
and
yeah.
yeah, and you know what? I went back and I asked myself that, I am rewriting my life because I rebooted, after many years of my marriage. And so women like you are also rewriting your lives, like the way you said that, you went.
Absolutely. I think for me the journey was completely of unlearning what I had learned,
Yes.
whether it was before marriage, whether it was after marriage, whether it was after this whole new, um, you know, uh, this whole new self discovery of understanding yourself, that yes, you are much more beyond being someone's wife, someone's daughter-in-law, someone's mother, someone's daughter, someone's sister. There is something that is there also to you than these labels that you've got. Who are you? So for me, it was quite a revelation. But at the same time, there were problems that were happening. So for me, it was a mix. While I was on the path of self discovery, I also knew that things were not right at in my marital space. So it was actually a duality that I had to fight, right? And to at the same time strike a balance. Do I feel I'm feeling good about it, but at the same time, I know that there's a challenge and struggle here, and how do I navigate that? Maybe for a bit, the self discovery got overshadowed by it as well. And I was not really able to rejoice the way you would. Like for me, I started working at an age of 41, 42. And to get my first paycheck and a salary at an age of 43, where it's not really happened in the entire household, it was a huge thing for me.
Congratulations, you're a queen.
Thank you.
And, this is an inspiration for so many women who don't know how to go out. And so we have Ruchita, who's telling us that she got her paycheck in her 40s. And kudos to you. You're a queen.
Thank you.
Tell me, what did you do with the first paycheck?
I bought a gift from my husband because clearly it was all his effort. And, I had a young child at home. My sister-in-law was there. So without the family support and without his support, I mean, today we are where we are. Of course, it would be because somewhere both of us were not able to kind of give into the relationship. But I would not take away the support that I did get at that time. And whether it's financial, whether it's emotional, whether it's mental, whether it's physical at home, that warmth, that connection that you need. Yeah, so I did buy him a nice gift with my first salary. I bought something for my son as well, and that's what I did. And of course, I donated to few in the Gurdwara for the first time.
You got my heart, lady. When I speak to you, I get a sense of an amazing, maybe camaraderie that you may have probably achieved, with your ex spouse. Is it true that you have been able to achieve it? Because 2 years is very short a time, because many people fight with feelings of anger, disappointment, rejection. You feel cheated sometimes. For the youth, that we many of us, we all of us as women, we give it all away without understanding what we are signing up for. So how did you get into this space so soon?
You took my heart there. All the points that you shared, that resentment, the negativity, the toxicity, the anguish. Also, how you navigate, because it's completely a whole transition from where you were to how you are living. Also, social interaction, family interaction, all these things play a havoc on your mental well-being. I was also not unlike others, where I would say that I was not struggling. I think the very first 6 to 8 months were, I wouldn't say 6 to 8, and I'm still struggling. There are still challenges. There are points that I would go to an extreme low as well. There would be times when I would doubt my self worth as well till date. But I think what really worked for me was that I didn't hesitate to take help. When I say help, the moment I was able to come to an understanding, or I was able to sense that, yes, something is not working, I did approach counseling. I did counseling, in fact, for a good 6, 8 months, with the sole purpose of only trying to understand where I could be wrong. It's as an individual or as a partner, we all think that we're always giving the best and we've always done the right thing, not understanding that maybe my perception of myself could also not be the right thing. Maybe my partner needs something else. Maybe there is something I'm doing which probably is also a part in that space, or that, separation that we are creating. So I did reach out. I did try to work on what were my minuses as well. Of course, at the end, we ended up getting separated. I didn't take it well. I thought that things, because for us it started as a 6 month hiatus. For us, it was like, let's stay away from 6 months, see how we feel. Let's see if we have this need for each other to be in our lives, whether we miss each other's presence or not. With it came its own set of challenges, which I didn't preempt before, and not that it really matters now. Uh, for a few months, I was really low. But one thing that was a constant for me was that my daughter was with me. And my daughter at that time was 9 years. And there was no way that I could kind of rub off my feelings to her. I had to, in any way, secure, because she'd already gone through this trauma of understanding that we're going through separation. The first thing I did was I reached out for help again. I went into therapy. I had a beautiful therapist with me who worked with me night and day. And it's been 2 years since I've been with her. She taught me a lot of practices that really helped me, which I actually incorporated initially while I was going through that very dark, dark phase. What stood out for me the first was self care, something that as an Indian woman, I don't know about, I wouldn't really say women in general, but Indian women, I don't think that we really give a lot of attention to ourselves. I think our universe is our kids, our universe is our family, our in laws, our husband. And in that, I don't think we pay attention to ourselves. So the first thing that really, I mean, at an age of 45, I finally understood the value of self care. I'm still at times struggle, but then I keep that thought in my mind. I have my own demons who will try to put me down. I've given them names, as my therapist has always told me to do that, have a constant inner dialogue with them. So, yes, I think understanding self care, um, also making a routine, I think that has helped me immensely. Choosing a hobby that you really want to pursue. So I plunged myself into salsa. I got myself into gymming. I set a routine for myself, and of course, making it equally important to spend time with my daughter. So I think these two things really, really helped me to first channelize what's happening. Uh, the routine kind of also gave me support in going through with my life, in moving ahead. It's not, I wouldn't say moving ahead means that you're letting it go or you've accepted it. The first step is to work on yourself, because if you are not able to take care of yourself, if you're not loving yourself, then I don't think that you can do justice to the to your family or to your loved ones as well. So for me, yes, that was the first thing that really helped. So I would suggest everyone and every woman out there that self-care, it could be in form of as simple as sitting with yourself for 5 minutes in a day, looking for soothing exercises, mirror work, meditation. For me, hell, I probably, thanks to my therapist again, she told me to dress up once a week and dress up to my best and go out, whether it could be a date night with my daughter as well. So I started doing that. So small things that would make you realize that you are important, that you are worthy. I think that helps a lot because somewhere down the line you go solo thinking that, and you get into that self guilt. That's what we women usually do. We start feeling guilty ourselves. We get into that loop, we get into that mode. So it's very important to break that.
So, what would be very interesting, Ruchita, in this episode is to understand co parenting because many relationships I've seen, they hold on for the sake of the children, and once the children have really grown up and they've left, and that's when now we can hear so many cases of couples falling apart because the marriage had already died years back, but they continue to stay for the for the sake of the children, unless it was a situation where one had the courage and the resilience to walk out. How has co-parenting been for you, Ruchita, with a young daughter?
Uh, First, there are no rights or wrongs. I mean, hats off to the parents, despite not being on the same understanding or the same level, you choose to stay together. You choose to keep it normal for the kids, which is very difficult because if you do not have that understanding and if your relationship is already under a lot of turmoil, it's not easy. There are verbal fights, there could be physical fights, there could be distance, there could be and kids are very smart to notice all these things, right? So yes, for me, I think the first thing that I would say is that for any co-parenting, you need an open communication. It cannot happen. I don't think any relationship or uh, any plans or any situations can be handled without communication. But in our case, it was the major reason for our uh, struggles, for our challenges. I think we were both absolutely incommunicado in our own ways. Something that we didn't catch, something that our parents probably, it's again about conditioning the way you, as an individual, also, there are times you don't realize it, right? You think what you're doing is good enough and you don't feel the need to communicate how you're feeling. And somehow it comes out as so much toxicity later in life that you don't realize it. So for us, it was like that uh, um, in communication or no communication, I would say, was the cause of our unsuccessful marriage. But one thing that really stood out for us was this urgent need to be ensuring the well-being of our children. The timing was also in a way such that my son was going away for his further studies, so one part was taken care of while when we broke it to him. Of course, him being the eldest, he was able to see the environment. Not that we were very verbal with each other or we would fight, but you can see, we are not together, we are not happy. Uh, you can see the difference. So kids, as I said, are very, they can sense these things very easily. Um, there's no much of physical touch that's happening, no hugs or otherwise, very basically sitting. So all these things kids do sense. Coming back to for us, I think it was clearly stating or clearly understanding that yes, it is very important that the kids or our children's emotional well-being is the foremost. So it was that commitment that both of us gave in to stabilize the environment for the children. So that was one common ground that really was very clear with us that no matter whatever happens with us, amongst us, it should not rub off to the children. So that's number one, commitment from both sides. Second is establishing clear boundaries, and consistent parenting plan. While we do not like to communicate with each other, but at the same time, we know that we need to do this for our children because my daughter is very young. So we were able to maneuver through the do's and don'ts that, okay, 5 days she's with me, the weekend she's with you, you have a travel plan. If I'm available, I'm taking care. So it's important. With, I think with establishing boundaries is also very important to be flexible. I see a lot of situations where someone, where one of the partner probably is not being able to be that flexible or would come with a very fixed mindset. So I think touchwood for us, just the innate sense of being there, ensuring the well-being of our children, kind of just helped us being together in co-parenting, which has worked really, really beautifully. Despite the fact that we do have our own negativities, we do have our own challenges of interacting with each other. We've always projected a very cooperative and respectful relationship with each other in front of the kids, which is very, very important.
Oh, that's a difficult one to navigate and, to overcome the challenge, because there would be so many times that you're probably bubbling from inside and you have to learn to keep your mouth shut. And it can be so, so tough. So kudos, if you've been able to do that in such a short time. So how has been the teacher community with you? I mean, did you feel slightly conscious in the beginning when you went in and joined to tell them that you're single? Did you have those sort of feelings that everybody around you seems to be very happily married with all their, pictures? Because that's what single women go through. They feel that why, yeah. And yeah, so that's what I want to ask you, Ruchita. How did you feel that the people around you? I think today we are in times when people are more accepting, but still there is a taboo attached, for a divorce and a marriage falling apart, because it's such a social, construct and institution. There are so many women who come and tell me about being cancelled. They're not invited to the same parties that they were once invited to. As a couple, and that's not easy.
See, whereas the professional part is concerned, I did want to take some time off to be with my daughter because she did not take it well. Uh, Today, I look back, I would actually really appreciate both of us working towards it, because she never, I think it's also, I don't really know whether it was a drawback or wasn't, because she's like, hello, what happened? Yes, I've seen you fight. Yes, you are in probably two separate rooms, or we were always together. So it came as a huge um, challenge for her, for us to make her understand what had happened. She's saying everything is fine. Even when we would go out, we would be mature enough to be all right. We were very conscious of the fact of people around us, and we would be fine. We would actually have people come up and say something wrong, or family, or relationship, or extended family coming and say, we don't see anything is wrong. So it was very difficult for us to explain it, what was there. Um, I think as a man, and I would say a man is a social person, so we are people. I wouldn't say people pleasers, but we are the people. We are there for the people, and the kind of nature both of us had, we really did not show it initially. We would be very okay about it. I did reach out to my program leader because I wanted to take some time off for my daughter. I thought that she was not taking it too well. However, it was rejected. Um, I did not tell everyone about it, just my immediate team. I also was very subtle about it. Yes, I was very emotional. So I my only reason of sharing it with them was that there could be possibility, there could be times that I would be emotional, or I would break out, or I would start crying. I don't want anyone to feel otherwise and cut me some slack if there's something that's not right. So I did not shy away from reaching out. And I wasn't shy away from making it clear that yes, this is what is currently happening.
Again, kudos to you. This requires courage. And I'm so impressed as I'm talking to you. Like, my heart is just brimming with so much of love and emotion right now, because you probably don't know the kind of resilience and courage you probably have inside you. And I can see that, yeah, I can see that as a person who's sitting and talking to you. To be able to even open up and say that, please cut some slack, that I may just react because there's so much of turmoil within my heart, it requires courage. So, hats off.
Thank you. Thank you. So it's difficult. And you're right. Like, I don't know about people not inviting me. Touch wood, it's not happened to me so far. But you yourself feel very conscious when you are amongst your friends and you know that they're a couple. I don't want, and I'm being very candid on camera right now, that I don't want to come across as someone who's kind of giving any hints. At the same time, I want to respect my own dignity. I want to ensure that it's all right and it's safe. You know how it is. Being a single, you would get a lot of questions or question marks, which people would not be really openly asking or talking about. So it's been difficult, but touch wood, I've had a wonderful, wonderful circle of friends around me, which I have found now as my tribe. I've had challenges there as well because, when you are separating, the common friends, which you feel would be supporting, it doesn't always happen like that. So it comes with with its own set of challenges there as well. But touch wood, I've been lucky that way. I don't think that I really didn't pay that much of attention. It did hit me a lot, but now sitting after 2 years, I still feel bad about it. You lose some friends in that journey, you gain some friends in that journey. So I have only gratitude at the moment. I don't want to think about what was there. Everyone has their own reasons, right? I know that I was loved. I know that I am loved. For any reason, even if we are not able to meet, I know that they would not have any ill for me. We are still in talking terms with friends that were from his side as well. I do meet them off and on as well. I've made another set of friends, which is again very difficult at this age to again start being vulnerable in front of people. So few of them have been there with me as a support system, which is so, so important and very significant as well. It's very, very important to have that one person that you can talk to, which I didn't. So when I started on this journey, I had no one to share how I felt, no one to explain, how I was dealing with it, be it my family or be it anyone. And that constant thought for me was, I do not want my daughter seeing me crying, or I do not want my daughter seeing me weak, that I can't handle it, or that I am suddenly in need of help. So I think it was my own resilience to come back and again reach out to people, seek, come out of my own shell. It was not that I did not have people around me, I did not have family around me, I did not have friends around me. But that's my innate characteristic. I'm not the kind to just open up about how I feel. So it took me again a lot of self care practices to be again open. And I think that's where my therapist came. She was the be all and end all for those first 6 months that I was dealing with this sudden transition of where I was and what hit me and what's happened. So yeah, it's been a journey of lot of experiences. I've learned a lot from them. I would not say that either of them or any of them were mistakes. I think it's only been a lot of learning, a lot of revelations, a lot of understanding, a lot of changes that a lot of self-reflection as well.
So, baby girl, you are rewriting your history, and it's not going to be easy. You are rewriting your own life, and I think there are not too many women who may have the courage today, but things are changing. And with interviews with people like you and so many more other amazing women who've come forward and shared their stories with me, I think with this episode in Dear X, lots and lots of girls will find answers, Ruchita. And thank you so much for being on today's episode. I wish you luck, resilience, always a lot of positivity. And please know that you have a tribe in me that you can reach out to, and we can be in touch with each other because I exactly understand what you're going through. And lots of love and light and blessings to you.
Thank you. I want to end it on one note. You were just saying that women don't find courage. It's not that. It's just that it takes time to recognize that courage. It might take you a friend, it might take you a family member, it might take you yourself. We all are courageous. It's just the moment that it will come and hit you, and you'll do the rest. So the name, it's the other name for women is power and courage. Everyone is strong. It's just that we will find our own moment and time.
Any three things that you'd like to say, actually, you know what, before I end this episode, Ruchita, because you seem to be really centered around yourself, you know, in 2 years' time, which is a very short span of time. So, what are those few practices that you kept in mind, you know, because like I said, and like you know, that it's a life altering decision. You know, your entire life is changing when you give up so many years of, a marriage. What are those few things, like you said about self care? What are those things that you do consciously with your mind?
My journey started. I'm just very quickly going to take you back to make you understand for me where it became from. I still remember 3 months, 4 months, and my therapist told me that, you know what, Ruchi, whenever you talk to me, I don't hear you anywhere. I only hear your husband. My husband did this. I did this. What will my husband think? What I said, where? And she said, where are you? So that one line, I think, kind of changed me there and then. In only understanding that I have to do this for myself. Because if I don't do this for myself inside, I'll not be able to do it for my daughter. So that is something will always stick in my head. It's for me. I have to do it. If I am not strong, or if I am not sorted, if I am not centered, I don't think I can do justice to others. Right? So seeking help of any kind, be it therapy, be it self-care, be it as simple as, so what I started doing for me was one routine that worked. It initially started with a lot of pain, um, but it eventually I built on. So I had a small bathtub. I would make it a point, no matter what, even if I have an invitation somewhere, I would not go out. So one day I kept for myself where I did what I wanted to do. It could be as simple as sitting with a book. It could be as simple as going to a coffee shop and sitting with a coffee, going out for a drink alone. It is about sitting alone with yourself and understanding that you're doing it for yourself. And in that yourself is a universe in that universe are your kids. So for me, I think that was all. Every time I would say that I need to do it, it is for me that I'm doing it, for no one else. And if I need to be strong and I need to be sorted and I need to be emotionally, not vulnerable, I think that definitely works. Second, of course, emotional support from family and friends also helps. Um, Again, it's a commitment. For me, I think it was a commitment that I made to myself that there are times I still rant, there are times I still get angry, there's times even now I feel I'm worthless, I'm not worthy, blah blah blah, everything will go. But then I come back, I know those demons are working in my head, and I have my good support system as well, and I would come back and say, no girl, you've got that wrong. You have to do it for yourself.
I have a takeaway from this, Ruchita, in which we say that you need to name the demons. And once you name the demons, you can give them an identity. And I think this is a lesson that, many women, when they go through their own inner demons.
Absolutely. Call them over for tea, have tea with them. As demons, we shy away, we get scared. I still not been able to ace it, where I would say, all right, come sit with me, let's have a talk or let's have tea. I'm way far then from that. I wish I had to do that one day. But yes, I have been able to identify it. And the moment I digress, I will still pull myself that no, I can't do this to myself. I've had enough. It's my time now.
Kudos, lady. And it was an absolute heartfelt
Thank you.
pleasure to have you on today's podcast. Thank you so much. I wish you luck and lots of love. Thank you.
It was wonderful talking to you and having a conversation with you as well. You stay well. Hopefully, we'll get in touch again too.
Thank you for listening to DearEX from the creators of the Mohua Show. We would be delighted to get your feedback for these candid conversations that our guests shared with us. If you want to reach out to us, DM us at our Instagram page, The Mohua Show. We all know to call it quits isn't easy. To D or not to D isn't really an easy question to answer.